Today we are going to discuss about a bone of the upper limb which is known as the scapula. Okay, scapula is also known as the shoulder blade. It is located on the posterior lateral aspect of the chest wall. Okay, if you see this bone has got various surfaces and borders, and there are various processes and various angles for the scapula. So now we will see the surfaces of the scapula. This is the ventral surface, also known as the subscapular fossa. Right? Ventral surface, anterior surface or the subscapular fossa. This is dorsal surface, also known as the posterior surface. So this dorsal surface, it is interrupted by a spine which is known as the spine of the scapula. So this is the spinous process. So anatomical position of the scapula, you should hold the scapula like this, and the anterior surface should face forwards. The posterior or the dorsal surface should face posteriorly. The glenoid cavity, it faces laterally. So this is the glenoid cavity. This glenoid cavity, it articulates with the head of the humerus to form shoulder joint. Okay. So surfaces we have seen. This is the anterior surface, the posterior surface. Okay. Let's next move on to the borders of the scapula. We can see here, this is the medial border. Medial border is sharp. Okay. And this is the lateral border. Lateral border is thick than the medial border. And we have one superior border. The superior border is thin. Okay. So there are three borders. The superior border, the medial border is facing towards the median plane. This is the lateral border. So medial border, it is known as the vertebral border. The lateral border is known as the axillary border. Medial border is known as vertebral border because it is related to the vertebra. Lateral border is known as the axillary border. It is related to the axilla. So these are the borders of the scapula: the superior border, medial border, and lateral border. Then coming to the various processes of the scapula, we have one process here. This is coracoid process of the scapula. It is like a twisted finger. So this is coracoid process, and here we have on the posterior aspect, this is the spinous process. Spinous process continues as the acromion process, right? So acromion process, it has an articular surface for the articulation of the clavicle to form acromioclavicular joint, right? So this is the acromion process, this is the spinous process, and this is coracoid process. So there are three processes: coracoid process, spinous process, and this is the acromion process. Then there are fossae, are the depressions of the scapula. We have one, this is subscapular fossa. Ventral surface, also known as the subscapular fossa. Then on dorsal aspect, we have above the spinous process, we have supraspinous fossa. Below the spinous process, we have infraspinous fossa. Okay, so far whatever we have discussed about the surfaces, we have ventral surface, dorsal surface, two surfaces, three borders: the lateral or the axillary border, medial or the vertebral border, one superior border. Okay, three processes: coracoid process, the spinous process, and acromion process. Three fossae: subscapular fossa, supraspinous fossa, and infraspinous fossa. We have three angles for the scapula. One is the superior angle. So this is the superior angle of the scapula, which is between the superior border and the medial border. This is the superior angle. Then we have inferior angle between the lateral and the medial border. We have inferior angle. Then we have lateral angle. Lateral angle, it is formed by the glenoid cavity. So between the superior and the lateral border, we have the lateral angle of the scapula. So these are the three angles of the scapula. So what are the features of the scapula? One anterior surface, one posterior surface, three borders: the lateral border, the medial border, superior border, and three processes of the scapula: coracoid process, this is the spinous process, and this is acromion process. Then one cavity we have, which is a glenoid cavity, right? So the margins of the glenoid cavity, it gives attachment to the fibrous capsule of the shoulder joint and also the glenoid labrum. glenoid labrum, actually it deepens the cavity of the shoulder joint, we say. So then fossae we have supraspinous fossa and infraspinous fossa. There are some features here. At the superior border, lateral end, we have one notch. This is known as the supraspinous notch or the suprascapular notch, we say. Suprascapular notch. It gives the passage of suprascapular nerves, and superiorly here you have the attachment of supraspinous ligament. Okay, so if there is a presence of ligament, it becomes a foramen. We say suprascapular foramen. Suprascapular nerves passes through this foramen. Okay, the nerve passes like this, and this is spinoglenoid notch. This is the spinoglenoid notch. So it communicates supraspinous fossa with the infraspinous fossa. So this is spinoglenoid notch. It communicates supraspinous fossa with the infraspinous fossa. So suprascapular nerve, it passes through the foramen, and from the suprascapular fossa it enters the infrascapular fossa to supply the muscle present at this region. Okay, so these are the features of the scapula, the presenting parts of the scapula. The side determination of the scapula, always look for the glenoid cavity. It faces laterally. The dorsal surface with the spinous process faces posteriorly. Okay, so you have to hold the scapula like this. Look for the ventral surface. It is somewhat deep, concave, right? So now we will move on to the muscular attachments. Coming to the muscles attached to the scapula. So this is the dorsal surface of the scapula, and this is ventral surface of the scapula. So dorsal surface of the scapula, you have two fossae. Above the spine, you have supraspinous fossa. Supraspinous fossa gives origin to the supraspinatus muscle. Supraspinatus muscle originates from the supraspinous fossa. Then infraspinous fossa on the dorsal surface, it gives origin to the infraspinatus muscle. Then we have so these are the two muscles arising from the dorsal surface. Above the supraspinous muscles, we have supraspinous fossa. It gives origin to the supraspinatus. Infraspinous fossa gives origin to the infraspinatus. Right? Then what are the other muscles on the dorsal aspect? If you see the dorsal aspect of the medial border, that means this one, this part. This is the dorsal aspect of the medial border, and this is ventral aspect of the medial border. Okay, so dorsal aspect of the medial border at this region, so it gives the origin to the levator. It gives origin to the levator scapulae. So here, so from here you have the origin of the levator scapulae. Levator scapulae. Then just the dorsal aspect of the medial border below the spinous process. This area, it gives origin to the rhomboidus minor muscle. Then the remaining area of the dorsal aspect of the medial border gives origin to the rhomboidus major. So there are three muscles arising from the dorsal aspect of the medial border, levator scapulae from here, right? Then next we have rhomboidus minor. Then this entire area gives attachment to the rhomboidus major muscle. So these, then coming to the lateral border. So lateral border, it gives origin to the teres minor first, right? The lateral border on the dorsal surface gives origin to the teres minor here. The next, the teres major. The teres major and teres minor. The teres major and teres minor muscle, they get originated from the lateral border. Lateral border, also known as the axillary border. Then below the glenoid cavity there is a tubercle here. This is known as infraglenoid tubercle. Superiorly also one more tubercle we have. This is supraglenoid tubercle. So this infraglenoid tubercle, it gives, this is infraglenoid tubercle, gives origin to the triceps, long head of the triceps. Okay, tendon of the long head of the triceps arises from the infraglenoid tubercle. Whereas this supraglenoid tubercle, it gives origin to the long head of the biceps brachii, Then next we have the coracoid process here. You can make out the coracoid process here. The tip of the coracoid process, it gives origin to two muscles. One is the coracobrachialis and also the short head of the biceps. The short head of the biceps and the coracobrachialis, they originate from the tip of the coracoid process. That you should remember. So this is about the dorsal surface of the scapula. Coming to the ventral surface, this is the ventral surface. So ventral surface, this area, it gives origin to the subscapularis muscle, the multipinnate subscapularis muscle. Then here we have this is the medial border. The medial border of the ventral surface. Medial border on the ventral aspect. This entire border on the ventral aspect gives attachment to the serratus anterior muscle. That you should remember. The serratus anterior muscle. So these are the attachment on the ventral surface of the scapula. The ventral surface gives origin to the subscapularis, and medial border on the ventral aspect gives origin to the gives attachment to the serratus anterior muscle. This you should remember. So then what else we have? So we have covered everything, the attachments of the muscles, okay, on the dorsal aspect and on the ventral aspect, okay. You can also see the origin of the deltoid muscle from the crest of the spinous process of the scapula. The origin of the deltoid from the crest of the spinous process of the scapula. So basically this is the crest of the spinous process of the scapula. It has two lips. This is lower lip and this is the upper lip. So upper lip, it gives insertion to the trapezius muscle, whereas lower lip gives origin to the deltoid muscle. Okay, so that is about the crest of the spinous process of the scapula. Upper lip gives insertion to the trapezius, lower lip gives origin to the deltoid muscle. Okay, coming to the ossification, the scapula has one primary center and there are 7 secondary centers. Ossification, there is one primary center and 7 secondary centers. 7 secondary centers. The primary center appears in the region of the body. The primary center appears in the region of the body, that you should remember. Whereas in the 8th week of intrauterine life, in the region of the body during 8th week of intrauterine life. Then we have the spine, the greater part of the coracoid process, the spinous process, the remaining secondary centers, they appear about at the age of puberty. These centers, they appear at the age of puberty. For the spinous process, for the coracoid process, and for the entire parts of the scapula, the secondary centers, they appear at the age of puberty. Okay. Then we have all the secondary centers, they fuse between 18 to 22nd inch. All the secondary centers, they fuse between 18 to 22 years of the edge of H. Okay, that you should remember. So secondary ossification centers appear at the age of puberty, that is at the glenoid, the acromion, the corophoid. All the secondary centers appear at the puberty, and all the ossification is completed by the age of 18 and 22 years. With the age of 18 and 22 years. Okay. So regarding the fractures of the scapula, the fractures are uncommon. The fractures of the scapula are uncommon. The fractures of the scapula are uncommon. They can occur in the automobile accidents. Okay. Usual sites of fractures are the body of the scapula. This is a site of fracture. Then fracture through the neck. Okay. Fracture of the acromion process of the scapula. Then fracture of the corophoid process of the scapula. So these are the common sites of the fracture of the scapula. Okay. There are clinical conditions like winging of scapula. All those things will be discussed in the theory classes. This is actually the practical demonstration of the scapula. Okay. Hope you have understood very well about the scapula. Always remember, I conclude my video by telling the anatomical position. You have to hold the scapula like this if it is left side. Because it is left side, so I am holding in left hand. If it is right sided like this, you have to hold in right hand. How the difference between the right and left scapula is, here look at the glenoid cavity. The glenoid cavity should face laterally, away from the body. Okay, and ventral surface is this one. Dorsal surface has got the spinous processes. The dorsal surface, it is interrupted by the spinous process. So you have to hold the scapula like this. So if it is, so this is left sided. So glenoid cavity is facing away from the body laterally. Head of the humerus faces medially, and so this glenoid cavity gives it articulates with the head of the humerus to form mobile shoulder joint. Hope you have understood this class. Okay, if you have any clarifications, you can text me. I will explain in detail about this bone. Okay, do not get confused with the attachments of the muscles. As of now, the names are important, so you have to remember the names. Origin, insertion, nerve supply action of each and every muscle. The origin, insertion, nerve supply action of each and every muscle will be discussed in the theory classes in detail. As of now, you have to know that which part of the bone gives attachment to which muscle. Okay, and the anatomical position, and you should be able to tell the side determination of the scapula. Thank you very much.